Yep. So I'm going to do a quick review. Hello, my name is Mohammed Rajab. So I'm going to do a quick review about Deel as a HR and payroll platform. So let's say my employer just added me to Deel. So instead of just clicking it through it quietly, I thought let me actually document this. What does it feel like to be set up as an employee on a global payroll platform for the first time? So let's find out. So this is what you see at the moment when you log in as an employee. It's clean, not overwhelming at all. There's a sidebar on the left with everything laid out: home, contracts, pay, time off, document settings. Even before you've done anything, the layout tells you exactly how little things about your relationship with your employer. There's also an onboarding, a checklist right here. It tells me, what I still need to complete to be fully set up. Profile details, payment method, tax information. That structure is actually really helpful. You're not left guessing what to do next. First thing I'm going to do is complete my profile, name, location, which I've already done that. Um, but you can actually check from my profile. You're mandated to fill in your first name, your legal first name and last name, the country of residence, your ID number, and that really actually matters because your tax obligation and payment options are tried to where you actually live, not just where you're from. For anyone working remotely across borders, that distinction is actually important. Now, the part that matters most as an employee: how do you actually get paid? So you go to finance, and you maybe go to payment methods and look at what is available. So for me, I've opted to go with PayPal, but there are actually several options. You know, if you go to add method, there's actually, bank transfer, Wise, PayPal, Pioneer, and depending on the country, even crypto. As someone who is based, in Tanzania, this is generally exciting, Getting paid internationally through a regular wire transfer often means losing 3 to 5% in fees and waiting several days. Wise in particular is a huge deal. It uses the real exchange rate, and the fees are a fraction of a traditional bank transfer. I haven't completed the setup yet because I'm still deciding which method works best for me. But the fact that these options exist tells you a lot about how seriously it takes the employee experience, not just the employer side. One over here in the if you go to the contracts tab, this is where your employment agreement is. Leaves once your employer sends it over. Mine hasn't been activated yet, so the state is kind of empty. But it tells you of what's coming, and the empty screen is actually well designed. There's no confusion. What I can tell you from the setup side is Deel generates compliance contracts automatically based in your country. So your employer doesn't have to figure out, the Tanzania employment law. Deel actually handle that. As an employee, you get a contract that's actually built around local rules, not just some generic template. And one more thing worth showing, is the support experience. If you click the help icon, you get a live chat widget and a full knowledge base. There's even a country-specific HR guide that really breaks down employment rules by region. As an employee in a less common market, knowing that this resource exists, and as someone at Dale actually knows the rules for my country, is generally reassuring. So honest tech as an employee just getting started on Deal, the experience is smooth. It doesn't feel like an enterprise HR software that was designed for a compliance team and then handed to work to a worker as an afterthought. It actually feels like it was built with the employee in mind too. The payment method options stand out for me, especially for anyone outside the US and Europe. And the onboarding flow removes a lot of the usual friction that comes with getting set up on an international payroll. That the one thing I can't fully evaluate yet is how actually the pay cycle feels. Receiving a first payment, tracking invoices, managing withdrawals. That's a follow-up video once I'm fully live on the platform. That's my first look at Dale from the employee side, setting up the account, exploring the payment options, and getting ready for that first payment. If you're a contractor or a remote employee who's been asked to join Dale by employer, I hope this gives you a clear picture of what to expect. I'll do a follow-up once I've actually received a payment through the platform. That's when the real just begins. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and drop a comment if you're on Deal. I want to know what your experience has been like.